Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Back at it. Kicking off the day with this yellow sedan. We're going to start on another CV axle. Get a CV axle torn apart, see if it's serviceable. If it is, we're going to reboot it. We have deemed this one unserviceable because of all of these scars and scorching and pitting inside this piece here. So I'm going to set that aside and tear that manual axle apart. Hopefully it'll be okay. One of the risks you have in buying used parts is you don't know if they're good. Neither does the person that sold them to you sometimes. But this one has a bad axle. It's got a clear label. Don't know how old it is, but it's got some wear in it that we're not going to be able to use it. So we're going to set this one aside, tear into this other one right there. Hopefully that one will be serviceable. We have the short shaft all taken apart. Everything looks good. There's no evidence of wear or damage on this piece here. The bearings all look good. If you even see like a stripe on one of these bearings, it'd probably be a good idea to replace it, because when you got torque on it and it's riding down the road, it could create that honing noise that you hear. This bearing carrier looks good. Everything in there looks good. So we're going to fly with this one. We are done with that Volvo CV axle. Volvo axle has this special thing here. And man, they come apart and go together really easy. The carriage in there, bearing assembly, is really tight in the Volvos compared to the other ones. And it's hard to tell the difference between the heads of those things, but you can sure tell the difference between the insides. So there you have it. The Volvo axle has a ridge right here, where that doesn't. It just has a drop in it. So that may be another difference. Manual axle, all booted up. Meanwhile, back at Transmissionville, David has got this transmission apart, and we're getting ready to look at the information on installing the Quaife and dropping the Quaife in there. This is the diff right here. This is an open diff. We're putting a diff in here that's LSD, limited slip differential. Checking out, seeing if there's any special instructions. So here's the transmission open. You should be able to see, what do they call those things? Synchros, but I don't see them. You could replace synchros on transmissions if they're available. They're not available on these, so if it's got bad synchros, that's what you got. This is the open diff. This is the closed diff of a Quaife. So if you're looking inside a open diff, there's a bar in there. If you look inside, lay that down on the side of a Quaife, it's a hole. You can see all the way through it. That's one difference. Also, we have to take these bearings off of here and put them on that Quaife. So we're going to try to get this bearing loose from this open diff, transfer it over there, and when we pull this open diff out of here, we're going to do the same thing, try to get the bearing off the other side and put it on that side. And that should be all we need to do. Bolt that thing back down, put this transmission back together. Because this is a 95 and it has a speed sensor pointing out right there, that speed sensor picks up on the end of this diff tone ring. That Quaife does not have that tone ring, so we're going to have to move that over as well. If we can't move that over, we'll have to wire the speed sensor into the ABS system. Had to take it to the vise. But I'm going to check a couple of videos I have for removing these kind of bearings from a vehicle axle. One was a Mercedes, one was a 240. And see if there's some way I can get these off. I may have to get a puller to pull these off of here. So let me see. The challenge we're at now is trying to get the bearings and the tone ring off of the open diff and get them on this Quaife. I don't see any instructions. I don't have a puller for it. I'm trying to tap it off without doing any damage to the bearings, and it seems to be a challenge. So I'm reaching out for some help with some of the people I know, and hopefully I'll get some response. Got bearings from a local place for this diff. Hopefully they're perfect and fit. Didn't make it back in time for the guy to finish it up, but this is the one that came out of the car, and this is the one that's going back in the transmission. And this is the part number for this brand, NTN, and I think I saw Japan on there somewhere.
NTN is a Japanese brand, but it's a quality brand.
Made in Japan. Quality products. Heck, it's a Japanese transmission, so that ought to be fine. I'll be back to pick this up in the morning. I am back at it after running around town, finding out who can take care of that Quaife for me, and having a quick bite for lunch. So I'm going to work on the pedals, the master cylinder, slave cylinder, and timing belt, and all this other stuff I got going on here, so that I can be ready to plug that transmission in tomorrow and hook it up, and hopefully that'll be it. So that's where I'm at. Getting ready to install the pedals, the shift cable, and the hydraulic for the clutch. At the brake line on this side replaced. For some reason, these brake lines don't have the spacers that stop them from chafing on things. I got the brake line on this side replaced. It was real hard, stubborn, and all that kind of stuff. I had to get it off with a heat gun and vice grips, which did work. So I got that on. I got the bracket straightened out. Need to put this ABS sensor back in the way it goes. It's loose for some reason. So let me get a pair of pliers and pull that in there. And then that side will be done. I'm going to dry it off, make sure it doesn't leak. Then I'm getting ready to put the shifter cables in and the master cylinder in. I removed the axle shafts from the transmission there and there. I got this one put in because it's laying down like this. This stuff is all out, so I did not put that one in yet. It's sitting there. When I get the transmission put back together, I'll put that in. I took the magnet that catches all the debris. I cleaned it off, put it back where it goes. That's the input shaft seal. I need to do that once I get this transmission in proper position. And I noticed that this gear shifter has these little arms that I guess picks the gears up when you're shifting. That one has a plastic thing like that. That one down there has it. This next one has it. This one has it here. This one has it. However, this one up here is broken. The plastic or phenolic that's inside the ring is good. Just the outer tip is broken for some reason. Don't think that's going to be a problem. Just an observation. So, again, the LSD is at the transmission place. These races seem really good. I'm not going to replace those, I don't think. And we're going to keep moving right along. We could not find the clip that goes in here. So David, Dad, found this laying on the ground going into this other building, and it seems to fit in here perfect. Close it just a little bit. And when I put it in there, I can't seem to get it to come back apart. So I snipped the ends of it so that they're kind of flush there, and I'm gonna put a zip tie around it to hold it in because it doesn't have that ridge to hold it in, and I think we're gonna be good to go because I cannot pull that out of there. Time for an update. Pulled the brake booster hose so we can get the clutch line through that bracket, and I put in the slave cylinder and the master cylinder. Actually, the slave cylinder is not installed, the transmission is not in yet, but I do got the master cylinder line in. I put the clutch pedals in, and I put the cables in. Now the cables have a padded thing on the passenger side and a yellow mark on the driver's side of these cables. You got to know that because on the inside they got to go in a certain way. So here they are coming in the inside, and the top one has the pad on it, so that goes into the passenger slot. There's two slots there, one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. Got to get those in the slots correctly. Got those in. I put the accelerator pedal bracket in. I didn't put the pedal in because I'm going to replace that cable. I'm going to take out that auto cable, put in the manual cable. I'm just probably going to pull that thing out and push the other one in, snap it in. When I pull it out, it'll pull out with the clips or it'll break the clips. Don't matter to me. I'm not going to use it again. I got the brake cylinder booster clip to the brake pedal. I got the brake pedal switch and cruise switch in. I have the master cylinder for the clutch on the pedal. However, I don't have a clip in it. I do have to find that clip. This rubber pad is worn through on the clutch, so somebody used to clutch this car on the edge of the pedal, but I don't have the clip for that, so I got to look, see if I can find the clip for that. We do have the spring and the spring spacer there, so that's good. So I'm getting ready to bolt the steering column back to the firewall body of the car and continue to make some progress. I got a power amp I need to install now, and then I could probably put the dash in. So let me go ahead and get the correct power amp, secure these screws here for the steering column, and keep moving forward. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.